Welcome to the Pushing the Cushion podcast with Slim Pushins and Corby Sherb. For all your local and national sprint car updates, news, opinions, driver and team interviews, and behind-the-scenes insights and stories, I promise you've never heard. These two have no idea what they're doing or why they're doing it, so give it a try. If for no other reason, you'll be able to make fun of them for it. And now, from the Rutherford Team Studio, please welcome Corby and Slim.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pushing the Cushion podcast. We got a really cool guest this week. Guy's a proven winner as of recent. My name is Slim Pushins. As always, my co-host here, the guy that currently holds the coast-to-coast cannonball run record on a unicycle, Corby Lane Sherb.
Hey everyone, how are y'all? Yeah,
I'd like to see video of that.
The unicycle stuff.
Yeah.
We actually there was a picture that was put in the newspaper as soon as we moved to Decatur. We moved from Decatur, from Garland, and we were riding unicycles actually to Walmart, and they put a picture of
stop.
me. Yeah, I swear we have a picture of me.
You gotta post that.
Me, all three of my brothers, and my dad all ride unicycles together.
Okay. To Walmart?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like our means of transportation at the time. It was just easier than, pulling the old van out. There was 9 of us kids, so it was a lot cheaper on my dad.
Jim, remember when we were talking about the idea of a podcast, and I told you that I think the perfect co-host would be Corby Sherb, and you were like, "Nah, I don't know about that guy. This is the reason."
All right.
Now, man, our special guest this weekend is a dude that's been around in sprint cars for a long time. Not just that, he's been a winner for a very long time. I can even say this, the utmost respect on the racetrack. We've had super, super close racing with each other and never got into each other. Actually, I think we've even done better than the Jeb thing. I've never had to apologize to John ever, but the 5R, John Ricketts.
Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you having me on. Glad to be here.
Thanks, man.
I really don't think that we have ever got into each other.
No, I think the closest would have been, I think we may have bumped bumpers one time at Waco last year.
The biggest heartbreaker of my sprint car racing career. Biggest heartbreaker.
That one, you had that one in the bag, and if it would have that late caution, you'd have had that one wrapped up.
I know you told what was it? Was it Charlie or Brandon? What was he going by? Brandon Thime that weekend. You told him to spin out there and pull the caution, didn't you?
Yeah, he gave me that gift. That's for sure. It was right before that. I worked on a line I was getting a heck of a run out of turn 2, and I was like, in my head I was like, I don't have enough time. I could see, I think it was Taylor Courtney in front of me, and I was like, man, I'm catching up, but I was like, we're out of laps, and then there's my caution.
It was cool, honestly. Carson Bolden was super young in that race, and I had been talking to Carson, and we took off from the restart. He threw a slider on me going into turn 3, and I didn't think much of it because it wasn't like it wasn't a bomb or anything. I had a lot of time to turn underneath him. I didn't feel like I lost a lot of time, and he did it again the next lap, and I'm like, dude, you got to chill, man. There's going to be someone like John that's going to show up, and sure enough, the next lap, here comes the 5R, and I'm like, man, we're in trouble now.
Yeah. I was getting such a run out of 2 there. It was almost like it was taking rubber. I mean, I don't think it was, but the way my car was driving, I could just put so much power down, and it was, that's where I was making up. I'd say 100% of my time was right there. I could just maintain 3 and 4, but all my ground, I was just getting run out of 2.
I didn't know that you was running the top until I watched the video once I got home after I had my little fit in the in staging. I should have, just blocked the top rather than continue to run the same line that I was running. It was just kind of like a little short slider line through 1 and 2, and to me it felt like it was fast. I'm sure Jimmy was probably throwing rocks at me through the camera that night.
I gotta be honest, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's all blurred into one big beating going racing.
I'm pretty sure the race on still shows highlights of this, the last lap slider of this race.
You and John and Carson Bolden, it was some of the best 3 or 5 sprint car racing that I probably have ever seen. Very respectful, but just battling for. Corby, remember when you watched the replay? The announcer was just going he didn't have enough breath. He
Yeah.
was going nuts.
It was cool. I'm glad that it was someone like John that beat me. There's plenty of other people that I wouldn't have been like super happy about. And like I said, I told Carson like in my head whenever he threw the second one, I was like, dude, like you got to chill, man. There's gonna be people who
Yeah.
show up now.
Yeah, can't be scrumming too much speed every lap.
Yeah. But
And
man,
honestly,
like
I didn't even know, like when we took the checkered, I thought that was the white. I didn't know that it was a checkered because I was, close to you. I knew Carson was there, and I was just trying to not run over anybody and cause a big mess. So I didn't even know that was a checkered until I think we were going into turn 3 when they flipped the light on, and I was like, "You have got to be kidding me!" I thought we're coming to the checkered, and sure enough, there's a caution come out, and I was cussing under the helmet, but it
Yeah,
worked
so
out.
was Corby.
I was very upset. Taylor Courtney
Yeah.
actually walked over to me and said, "Get out of the car. Don't act like that." It was one of those, man, like I knew I had it wrapped up, and then the same, like the cautions are super important to a lot of people, whether we're single file or the Delaware double file. Cautions can change the entire course of a race.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, you had that one wrapped up. Y'all had at least half a straightaway, maybe more, just before I got to Taylor, and then whatever you and Carson had. So I mean, y'all had it wrapped up. I might have gotten to Taylor, but I don't think I could have got there.
You're not helping
without
the
that caution.
situation. You're not helping his psyche, John.
Yeah.
It was a tough one, but I mean, it's cool. It happens.
I've had it happen too. I've lost them that way myself. So
yeah,
it doesn't make it any easier, but yeah, I had a good time.
It was cool.
John, what year was your? When did you start sprint car racing?
Oh Lord, I started sprint cars 05, 06 season at Cowtown. I'd have to look back at some of the old pictures and videos, but I think it was the 2005, 2006 season, somewhere in there, back at Cowtown.
What got you to sprint car racing?
Family. My dad raced. My grandpa raced for his whole life, and my dad raced up until he got a motorcycle accident. I don't know if y'all know, but he's missing his left leg from the knee down. Makes it hard to drive one of those things when you
still an absolute trooper though. That guy is always there.
Yeah, he doesn't miss. And I mean, truthfully, it's if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't be at the track. I mean, he puts everything into this program. But yeah, I mean, then of course we started running go-karts when I was, I think, 7 years old, all the way up until I was 15. I think when I started making my first laps in sprint car.
Well, I can tell you that I've watched a lot of racing on the back stretches of these racetracks next to your dad, and he drives every lap with you.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah,
he's definitely he's the reason I keep going. I mean, he puts in, hour upon hour upon hour, in the shop and just spinning the wrenches, making sure the thing's tuned up, and then back and forth to Russell to get parts when, we need some stuff, and whatever we need to do, he's going to get it.
The same thing. I think we've always had kind of a connection with the Russell Shoulders stuff. I know that your dad is super close to Russell, and your dad actually builds your motors, and he buys the majority of the parts from Russell, whether it's cams or cranks or whatever it is. That's always been super cool.
Russell's been a key part of my sprint car career anyway. Even before the 305 stuff, he would do all the machine work on the 360 stuff, and when we made the move to 305s, we obviously bought stuff from him. He sealed the motors when he sealed, and I don't think I've ever driven anybody else's stuff other than Russell, honestly. But yeah, he's a major part in the success I have had.
I think that Russell Shoulders is a super quiet guy, and that guy is such a massive part of just the local 305 scene, not just locally, but even
absolutely.
I mean, he sells cams to people in Nebraska, people in Pennsylvania. I think that Russell Shoulders.
My buddies in Indiana love his cams.
Yeah, Russell has a big impact for a lot of people, and I think that Russell does a really good job of just staying quiet, just like he always does.
He doesn't make too much noise, but I mean that's but his results are proven. His stuff still wins. Y'all won with it, I've won with it. I mean it's proven parts.
I think that might be one of the things I'm most disappointed about Devil's Bowl closing is I just wanted to see him keep running.
I think that
he actually how long he could go, and he's just not going to come across.
My dad has mentioned a few times that he's like, I think you might try to run RPM or you might try to run so and so, and I'm like, He needs to. He's still got that car, man. Just crawling and go.
I know. I think as of right now, he's the oldest person to win an IMCA 305 feature.
Yeah.
Oh, he just won one a couple years ago. Like within the last couple of years, didn't he?
Yeah.
He won a Devil's Bowl race.
I think he won the last year the Devil's Bowl ran, which was 23, I think. But yeah, I think it was between him. I know he was battling. It was him and I think the Kent Lewis Sr. down there in Houston.
Yes.
Or the two guys trying to be the oldest winners in Texas, I think it is. But yeah,
he's still a
something
stud.
for us to shoot
for,
boys.
Say Russell can ride a unicycle too. Now that y'all are talking about unicycles, Russell actually has one.
I've seen that firsthand. I've seen him on that thing.
My dad actually fooled him one day. He was down there and he was like, "Oh man, that's it. What do you call that thing?" Russell had it hanging in the rafters. He pulled it down. And my dad, and then my dad rode it. Now he was like, "No, dude, all of us could ride unicycles." No, man, Russell's an OG, man. Russell's a gangster, and the same. Like I know that you and your dad are super close, and even some of the stuff that we ran, I'm sure that you don't love to hear this, was stuff that like your dad and Russell, and then even like Lynn Sebester had talked about, and then it just like worked out, and we would put it in our stuff, and we'd be like, "Oh man, this thing sucks," or "This thing's great."
I mean, the thing with me, and I got nothing to hide. I mean, I'll tell you exactly what's in my car. If you beat me, you beat me. I don't care if it's.
I got my notebook because you whipped our ass last week. So
can you give Jim some secrets about your brake system?
Because...
Just so I like to just take them off the car and don't use them.
Yeah. But anyway, don't slip up because I got stuff jotted down here.
Yeah, I found the best thing that works for me is just stick with the basics. If you get your part in left field, just try to go back, find an old setup sheet, Maximum Eagle, whatever, and just go off that and start tweaking from there.
That's all Jeb does too. I mean,
Jeb
would make me scratch my head because he'd be in there, on XXX.com, like, I think we should do this, and it's like,
there's a lot of stuff to that. I mean, it's. It gets you around the racetrack. I mean, you got to fine tune from there based on your driving style, but it gets you around the racetrack. Depending on what shock package you might run, but
shock package is huge.
We just missed it a couple weeks ago, and then I dorked it up and spun it out and crashed. But KSP 2 weeks ago, you were the real deal, man. You were.
I was surprised that we were really good off the trailer in hot laps, really good in the heat race, surprisingly good in the heat race because, hats off to those guys. They made the track, racy, even when it was, narrow. We went forward in the heat race. I was just telling myself, if I can pass 1 or 2, then we might be okay. We might be in the back of an 8. And, of course, it helps I redrew the front row. But I didn't tighten up enough, and I kept waiting for that bomb from either Marcus or Kyle. I knew it was coming, or even Carson too. But I knew any one of those guys were coming, and it came just the last lap. But my car was getting. We took off, and I was really good really early, and this track's gonna start blackening off, and I'm gonna have to be better. And I just kept getting freer and freer and freer, and luckily it was a 20 lap race, not 25 laps.
I'm surprised that 1 or 3 and 4 stayed so good, especially like 3 on entry. I think that Kyle, you were being not defensive, but you didn't see it. But like Kyle would enter a little bit higher, getting into 3, and it was still like there was traction going across the slick more than there was like it seemed so slick to the cushion.
For me, when I ran I think 2, maybe 3 laps on top of 3 and 4, and the lap actually Marcus had actually passed me. And then the caution came out. And when he got past me, I railed the top of 3 and 4, and he got me down the front straightaway, like 3, 4 cars. And I was like, okay, noted. Do not do that again. Like, we're just hugging the bottom. I felt good on the top of 1 and 2. And when we were under that red on the back straightaway, me and Marcus were parked there on going into turn 1 and 2, and I could see the bottom. I think that exit looked really good, but I was like, you got to slow the car down so hard to get to it. I was like, I don't think you're going to beat the top. Because I was able to run the top 1 and 2 wide open.
Yeah.
And 3 and 4, I was losing the middle. If I could hug the middle in 3 and 4, I could keep a pretty good pace and then really hammer out on the bottom coming out. But I was losing the middle.
Do you talk to yourself during races?
Oh yeah. Don't F up. I was like, okay, don't overcook it, don't, and I I backed off a little bit, trying to stay behind the 9 car because I didn't want to slide him on the last lap because I was running the bottom of 3 and 4 and he was running the top. So I was like, well, I'll just keep pace with him in 1 and 2, and then I'll just pull the bottom and be no big deal. And then of course Kyle slides there, and I knew my only shot was I have to be beside him down the back straightaway.
Yeah.
I was like, if I could just be there, he may try to hug me or chop me. I was like, but I'm going to be there. If he had the lane on me, then it would have been race over. But I told myself just don't miss the bottom. Don't let this up, and you'll have to pull some hero stuff around the top to get me.
It's the same. Like Kerbo still knocks me about throwing sliders through 1 and 2 at Kennedale. Man, like it always seems like you really got to turn right on entry, going into 1, and then it gets like real pinchy, and it is like an absolute rocket ship if you can just get there with your foot still on the gas.
It's a little bit of a mind, like a mind game, because like I think what it is where we get on the racetrack, the wall kind of pinches down, and then the entrance is up here, so you can kind of, and you saw was it Sheldon hit the wall trying to do that same move. He tried to come right there past it, and then he can hook the top of 1 and 2 and go right on around. So it's it can mess with you, and obviously even it gets the best of the professionals too. You just have to not screw up.
It's the same, man. Like Kennedale has so much character to it. Like you talk about 1 and 2, and then the same, like getting into 3, especially in heat races, or like if a feature is only 3/4 of the way up, getting over the roller on entry of 3 is just I mean, absolutely ballpark yourself.
Which is surprising, as I really expected it I don't know how it was, from everybody else, but my stuff was really smooth and stable anyway, and I really thought that we'd be fighting and bouncing at least in 3 and 4.
Right. No, they did a great job. I'll give it up to them. Bo was absolutely perfect.
I mean, they let us roll the top. They let us, hot lap the track a little bit to keep it, let us feel the car out for 1. And, I think that helped us, maintain 2 lines. Even if it wasn't the widest of racetracks, it still maintained 2 lines. And then it let the middle burn out too.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week. They did just give us a little bit more racetrack to hot lap on for 1. And then the heat races were hammered down and heavy, but you could run 2 lanes. It wasn't super narrow, so it was racy. And then the Bs were really good. And then the main event was great too. So we do. We talked about how good the track prep was last week, and it deserves kudos again because
I was pleasantly surprised. I was sitting there in the chute during hot laps and watching all the mud get chunked over the top of the fence. I'm like, dude, we're cooked.
Like, my crew chief sent me out the very first car to push out for the season out there, so I was the one doing that.
Hold on.
The anxiety, my crew guys.
The anxiety level was at 1,000%, and you had been dressed and strapped into the car for a half hour. So nobody was going out. Nobody wanted to be the first. So Corby and I kind of looked at each other, and I got to go, and we sent it.
Oh, fair enough. All right.
Someone's got to be the first one out there.
That's right.
Well, we were.
It's cool, man. Like, let's talk about some history of John. Like I said, dude, like you've been around for a very long time. Super respected. Like what's some big highs that John Ricketts have had?
I think the biggest thing for me, we won some straight 360 stuff at Cowtown back when, and I don't know if any of y'all really remember Cowtown, but that place was anybody that was anybody raced Cowtown.
For sure.
If you had a name, you were there, and just be able to run with those guys and even be able to steal a few wins, early in my career was really cool. Obviously the IMCA National Championship is a big one for me. That was a lot of work and a whole lot of sleepless nights and late nights in the garage and just trying to get that thing to keep going. But yeah, and I think me and Jeb actually ended up tying for that.
Right.
That year, and I ended up getting a nod for the wins.
I knocked Jeb all the time for that.
What year was that?
2013.
13.
Yeah, that was back when they awarded the national champion and the rookie of the year. They called me the rookie of the year, even though I had 10 years experience prior to that. I guess the first year in 305. But they gave me, an Eagle offer chassis for national champion and rookie of the year. So I ended up getting 2 cars, which that car is one we retired last year. When we started running this car was what we I finally told Dallas, I think this little girl's tired. We need
All
to put her to
flexed
bed.
out.
Like, yeah, it was straight where it counted, but there wasn't a straight bar necessarily. Like, it squared up. I'll just say that. That's about all it did.
She was
Awesome.
But
still
yeah.
racy.
Oh yeah, we still won races with it. So
Where
if the
is it?
track was slick, it's at the shop.
Okay. So
We got another shop up the road that we're in the process of moving things into my garage here.
just keeping it just in case you start struggling, you run
No,
third and fifth or something. You're like, oh, I think we should put that old car back together.
that one's gonna go to either a scrapyard or a sim rig or something.
Okay.
That car's done.
What's your favorite track?
Eagle has always been at the top of my list. Now we only run there, and I haven't been to Eagle in about 5 or 6 years now. Had kids and just limited the traveling and the amount of nights we race. But Eagle's always been one of the top of my favorite tracks. Just that place, it's high bank, up on the fence. Throw bombs all day long and just have a ton of fun there. I really liked RPM. That place gets super technical, super slick and technical. It's not just pound the top. You got to still slow the car down and hit your marks every single lap. And that kind of track route, I really enjoy. KSP's is a fun one.
Is
Same thing, when
KSP fun, or do we just go to KSP because everyone goes to KSP?
KSP is 15 minutes up the road for me, so it's hard for me to not
Yeah,
go
right.
there. But when I play, it's the same thing. When that place gets super slicked up on the curb, even like the Outlaw show on Friday, man,
Yeah.
give me that every single week.
Oh,
And
I agree.
that, slick from top to bottom, perk up on the fence. Yeah, all day long. But even the track that we had Saturday, obviously I'm a little bit biased on it because we won, but that was still a track that I felt like you could make moves and pass on. I think, what was it? Colby Summerfield, I think, went plus 14 that night.
Yeah.
Jed went plus 9, I think it was.
Yep.
So obviously there was passing.
Yeah.
That 45 car pilot down a back straightaway obviously helped, but still, passing was still there.
There was some
I
hurt
agree.
feelings after that one.
There is a one or two, yeah. But it was the first night for a lot of, myself included. There's a lot of rust, a lot of cobwebs. People are trying to shake out, and
And that's once again like the same thing. Like the cool thing about KSP is like a lot of times in heat races there, I know that you can make passes, especially first couple laps. But I think that it helps some of the people that might not be like a John Ricketts or a Marcus or a Kyle to still be fast in a heat race. And then when the feature time comes, like it really does. I think that Kennedale has always done a great job. The same like you're talking about RPM. RPM will become super technical, and it's not about being the fastest guy, more of if you can be methodical and think about what you're about to do.
Yeah, you got to use both pedals. You got to, know what you're doing. Know that I'm not just gonna pin it and just, plug the cushion and go. You've got to know what you're doing. You got to have throttle control. You got to, use your brakes a little bit too. You got to do a little bit of driving there. And like I said, that those technical slick style racetracks are especially up on the top, are my comfort zones. I would rather grind bead log bolts off on the wall all day long than from the bottom.
You guys that have raced KSP for so many years, and it kind of comes naturally to you. You'd be surprised through the years how many people have walked into to Corby's trailer and just asked questions like how do you drive so comfortably here?
I think that KSP, to me and me as a driver, I don't know if John agrees with this or not, but like Ardmore turn 3 is way more scary than anything around KSP. At least at KSP, I have a fence to stop me. At Ardmore, that's a long fall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a long ways off the track. If you was it with Robert Vetter, he took a bad one
that
there
was a
at the bad
rough
end.
ride.
And that's one of those tracks that you carry a lot of speed. I've only ran there, I think, 3 times, and you carry a lot of speed there. I don't think people realize how fast Ardmore is.
It's super bowled up, man. It gets when it gets all the way to the top, it's pretty hair raising. And I would personally rather be at KSP even than like Waco. What there was a couple years ago that Michelle actually went upside down. What was it, non-wing there?
Yeah.
I would rather have
Down
a
in turn
fence.
one. Yeah.
I would rather have a fence stop me than like
Mhm.
have that, or even like, the jib crash at Doubles Bowl, like
Yeah.
where it just
That
goes
was
forever.
rough. Oh my God. I was watching that on someone's Facebook Live, and I was like, oh my God, that
Yeah,
was. You just know it's how that was violent. That
no,
was
for
violent.
sure. I would rather have something stop me to contain me right there. At least then I know that the medical people are going to be there super quick.
They don't have to
Then,
get to the airport to come find you.
yeah.
Corby knows from experience the how quick the medics get there at Ardmore.
Oh, Ardmore, I got Paul parked. I got Paul parked at Ardmore a couple
Oh,
years
did you
back.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
We're cool now. Me and Cody Price got together, and he threw a slider. He thought he could make it, and it wasn't. It wasn't the
What?
move.
Yeah, not
That
there, my
place
guy.
is. I can't tell you how many times we've been sitting in the chute and one of those fender cars comes screaming over. What is that? Turn 3
Well, it's the
into
same.
the.
Like Ardmore is just like John's saying. Like you carry a lot of speed there, and it doesn't take much. It's the same. Like you're just saying. Like you'd rather scrape beadlocks across a wall. Well, if you don't have a
Yeah,
wall, it takes nothing to get
yeah,
over.
yeah. Once you step that right rear off, now it's like you're just
Yeah, bye.
holding on
Hold on.
basically, like just pin it and hope it comes back on or something. Like it's. But yeah, Cowtown was like that. It didn't have a wall
Right.
around it, and there. And I remember, and that was where I got my education. I was watching Sean Jones and Kevin Ramey and Travis Rylett and those guys run there, and they'd be at the run. We'd be sitting on the top of turn 2, I think it was, up on the hill, and I would watch them, and they'd have their right rear halfway off the track. As it crowns off, and I'm like, and just sending it. I mean, lap after lap after lap. I'm like, these guys are fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like there is how do they do that? And I'm over here just like scared, just idling around the bottom, trying to just like stay out
Cowtown
of the
was cool,
way.
man. I raced
Yeah.
like 2 micro races there. Logan got his start in car racing there. Cowtown was cool. Cowtown was super unique.
Mm. Oh yeah, yeah. We used to race go-karts there back when I was, 12 years old, and yeah, I've got a million laps around that place. It's one of those tracks I wish we can figure out how we bring it back.
For
I'm
sure.
bummed. I think it closed the year before I moved here.
Yeah.
I think 2012. I want to say it was
Think so.
11 or
I think it
12.
was
Maybe a couple
12.
years. I think I came in
Yeah,
15, but
yeah. I think my last year I ran. I think we ran there once, and like they had a wing show on a Friday and a non-wing show on Saturday, and I drove Shane Glecker's car there, and I think that was the last time I ever got to run Cowtown.
Yeah.
And I want to say that was 2000. I want to say it was like either late 11 or early 12.
John,
I think it's 12.
where'd you get your number from? What's the background with your
So
number?
originally my number was 76. I ran that through go-karts all the way up through ASCS days. I mean, I ran that number forever, and that was my dad's number, when he raced. So it's just kind of no-brainer, run 76. Well, I guess it was 2012, late 2012. I don't think we finished a race one that entire year. I was ready to just take the car, get rid of it. I'm done. I don't ever want to look at race cars again. And that was about the time we met Shane and ran his car for a couple nights. And then we ended up running my own program, starting the 2013 season. First night out, grenaded a motor. And I'm like, we got to change something. The easiest thing to do is pull vinyl off and change the number. I was like, I got my first sprint car win in Mike Sanders' car, number 5R. And I had good luck with that. So we did that. We pulled the number off. I re-registered under 5R, and that was when I got my first 305 win.
That's cool.
First
It's
night out
as,
of 5R, got a win. So
it's
that
as
number
easy as
has obviously
that.
stuck since. Yeah.
It is. It's tough, and like you say, you've won, a national championship. The highs and lows of motors and rear ends, and like,
Yeah.
what am I doing wrong? Like that, I know
Yeah.
everything is right, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like you show up. I know that not to like bring up bad times, but there was a couple years ago. It just seemed like it was like every time you guys unloaded, it was just like something just dumb would happen.
Yeah, I think there was not last year, but the year before last, I think we went through, I catastrophically blew up 2 motors and hurt a third one pretty bad. Then we were running for Tommy Bryant, we blew up a motor severely at Texas Motor Speedway, and then
Yeah.
we put another motor in, and I felt it going, so I clicked it off. And it's just, man, for the last, I'd say from like 2015 to probably late last year, man, I couldn't buy luck.
Yeah.
It was one of those, like, no matter what we did, it was wrong. Motors were hurt, we'd hurt rear ends, and if we had a good run going, I'd get crashed or something, whether it be my fault or just caught up with some crap, it just and man, that'll like, I understand bad nights happen, it's a part of the game, but I'm like, "Man, throw me a bone here," and, so last year, we went in and with a mindset of, like, we're gonna figure this shit out, like, no more of this. If I gotta miss a handful of nights to make my car right, then that's what we do.
Yep.
Took it to the dyno, built a new motor. We spent the money on injections. I spent the money on, everything that we needed to just to not have an excuse essentially. And took it to the dyno, and man, it made good power, and we ran with it, and it just between finally getting my motor program turned back around, Russell gave us some stuff, a cam that try and just different stuff. Getting this car, this was the car that we ran the 410 with, and figuring out some stuff on it to get it because I don't like the car that's buried on the right rear. I feel
Mhm.
like I'll feel like I'll turn it over, and I just don't
Mhm.
like that. So we finally figured something out with that car, and man, it all just kind of just clicked. I'm like, okay, I feel like we're where we need to be now. Even if we ran like fifth or sixth one night, I would look at my race pass and my lap times would be the same as like the Marcuses and Carsons and Jebs and John Carney's, and I'm like, okay, my car speed is there. I've just got to clean up some stuff on my end as far as driving. You know, I was 262, 265 pounds, and I'm like, well, I could shave off 50 pounds.
Yeah.
So I started working out and being healthier, and now I'm down about 55 pounds, and car's faster. I don't fall out of the seat anymore.
You
So
feel
just
it's
all that.
mental. It's mental. All these
Mm,
guys give me crap about. I mean, I still work out to this day, but like, it becomes mental.
yeah, like I want to be. I don't want any excuses. I mean, I don't like. I just want to. When I go on this ride, I leave it all out there. Win, lose or draw, I gave it everything I had, and I can't. And then if I get beat, I get beat. That's fine.
For
But
sure.
I don't want it. I don't want to come out of the car with my tongue hanging out, saying, "Golly, man, I should have had that cheeseburger," or
Yeah.
whatever. Like I want to know,
I
like,
started breathing heavy with 3 laps to go, and I could have done something different, but
yeah, so I want to know that if I get on this track and it's aggressive, I'm gonna pedal for 20 laps, and we're gonna
yeah,
give it everything we got for 20 laps. So win, lose or draw, we're gonna be there.
that's
And
awesome.
that's been my mindset is I just want to know that no matter what I do, if I get beat, it's because I got outdrove, and
Yep.
that's perfectly fine. My motor's where it's supposed to be. I feel like my setup, my car is where it's supposed to be. All I got to do is get in the car and execute.
Yep.
And go from there.
Let's talk about race day meals. Do you have a pre-race meal? Anything
I really,
specific?
I mean, stay away from chicken. No chicken on race day. Um, I love chicken, but I ain't on race day. I mean, I'm probably like cheeseburgers or something. Like something that I say that I try not to eat too much because I think I'm gonna just get sick of the track, especially when it's in the hot, August and 105, 110 degrees. Um, a lot of times I might just make a sandwich or just something. Just being diabetic, so I have to have something in me, but I try not to go too crazy. I don't have like a specific go-to. I would say like I have to have this one particular meal from Whataburger or something or Wendy's or something. Um,
Are you
yeah.
let's talk about superstitions. Are you superstitious?
I mean, I'll say yeah. I'm not like I don't think I'm nuts with it, but like, yeah, I like so no chicken race day. I will I will leave my wife at the house and she can stay here if she eats chicken nugs. Same thing with my kids, ain't happening.
She knows the rules.
She knows the rules. My dad was real bad with green. I haven't been because I used to drive Jackie Thacker's car was a green 13. I mean, how much more superstitious can you get with that stuff? So um green used to be one for me, but now I've gotten away from I'm not so twerp on green. My dad is though. Um I'd say chicken's probably my biggest thing. Chicken and maybe peanuts.
You don't
But
you don't have any superstitious rituals?
I don't know if I'd call it like a superstition thing, but I do put my gear on a certain way. I have to get in the car and do things in a particular order. And if I don't, I feel like it does kind of mess me up a little bit. So I'll have to take it
That's
back off and redo it.
by
But I don't
definition, that's a superstition.
but I don't think of it as a way of like, oh, if I don't put my left glove on first, I'm gonna go ballpark my car. Don't think of it
Oh,
that way.
Cor-
But it,
Corby does.
Oh, dude, it's bad. It's bad. I'm really bad about that stuff.
yeah,
I've gotten
yeah,
yelled at. I've gotten yelled at in the truck to and from races because I would turn the music up or down and it would be an odd number, and that
That'll
just
do odd
didn't work
numbers.
for Corby.
That'll do odd numbers.
it's gotta be on the, yeah. I mean, I couldn't. I say that's more of an OCD thing for me than it would be like in a superstition. Like it has to be on a certain number.
What about? Do you have any pet peeves, like people that you're racing against? Anything that people do or might do under caution, under green?
I you know we're gonna race hard. We're gonna make contact from time to time. I think it's just nature of the beast. But I think there are people out there that race probably harder than they probably should for no more than what we race for. Like the 5,000 to win show, or even this 20,000 to win show that got canceled. I can understand. You're gonna have a certain level of aggression there, which is I don't want to say justified, but I mean I think it's expected. But
Yeah.
if we're racing for $500, I'm not gonna go out there and try to destroy my car, for $500. I'm gonna try to win. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not gonna go out there and just be just extra with it.
So you're not a guy that takes it upon himself to teach the young punks a lesson or anything like that.
Not yet. Not yet. I'm not saying I won't, but not yet. Um, and I mean, just I don't know. A lot of people like to play mind games, brake checking, or they'll swerve at you, like try to like. I've seen a lot of guys that start on the front row try to they'll end up running each other over because they don't want to give each other any room. Like, guys, we got 20 laps here figured out. Like, yeah, like that's not going to make or break a race.
Man,
I on the front end.
Yeah,
Like
I'm a
the,
firm believer in.
What was that? Was that at Port Royal this weekend?
Yeah,
where they
it seemed
junked
like
12 cars.
It seemed like every
Ridiculous.
single start in the 410 stuff that the dude on the inside just turned right off the start, and
Yeah.
man, that's the last way that I ever want to beat anyone ever, is just junking you on a start.
Were you
I
at
mean, if you
that
take a
Waco
green
show?
flag,
Were you at that Waco show like 4 years ago?
Which one?
Where
When Merle took out the whole field?
where we pile drove 14 cars
No,
with 3 laps to go?
I wasn't there. I don't think John was there either.
I don't remember that one.
Oh,
Merle and
it
DJ,
took rubber.
It took rubber. And
It took rubber late. There's a late caution that did those stupid double file restarts.
Was it a bandit show?
no, it
No,
was a TSS
it was
show.
a 305 show. Yeah, TSS.
305
TSS show.
And Merle and somebody else banged wheels in the second row and turned the car sideways on the front, and everybody crashed.
Yeah.
From second to 17th crashed. And then Merle's car was sitting in turn 2, and I was in the infield, and I borrowed a set of 3/4-inch wrenches from a stock car guy in Tech and went over and like ran his left front radius rod out because the front axle was bent so bad, and ripped off the front wing. And I told him, "You're good to go." And it was, I think that thing was broken 9 places, that frame. And he ended up finishing like 3rd in it. And he goes, "I thought you said the car was good." And I was like, "Didn't you finish 3rd?" Huh?
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Don't mess with it.
It is, man, and it gets tough, in Texas, middle of the summer, super hot, and it's almost impossible for the racetracks to keep enough moisture in it. Rubber racing is absolutely amazing when you're out front, and it is horrific.
Yeah.
Fourth
From
back.
about 3rd row back, like no one wants it. Yeah, I don't know. This is one of those things I'm probably so hard headed on. I can know that the track's gonna take rubber, and I'm not gonna snap for it.
Right.
Like my mind says, like, I'm gonna try to set up tight enough, and I'm gonna try to pass as many cars as I can before the track takes rubber, and then try to hold on to what I got.
Right.
And like in retrospect, I probably should have just not be stupid and let set for rubber and try to pass the guys that get tight. But I don't know. I don't like rubber. I get that. I mean, it's part of it. I mean, everybody's gonna have it. It is what it is. But and I can't complain. I didn't buy a single tire last year. The only time I ran on rubber was the very last show at Rocket. Of course, half the race was in there. It was like 900-mile-an-hour winds and sunshine. So it was one of those deals. Like, it was kind of expected, and it was the last race of the year, so I didn't care. But last year, we ran all the KSP shows that we ran, all the RPM shows that we ran. Now I say that I ran, I think, a grand total of like 12 races last year. So it ain't like I had significant amount of nights, but I didn't tear up any tires other than the last race at Rocket.
Right.
So it can be done. I mean, obviously, but the more you race, the less likely the odds are you're not going to run in rubber.
Same like you brought up, shocks, like we'll get deep into this, are you super particular about your shocks? Like, do you have your own shock guy, your own shock sheets?
I have I run, so, Sure has built my shocks, but I'll be honest, they haven't been dynoed in probably 4 years.
That
I mean,
pisses me off so bad.
it's on my to-do list. It's on my to-do list. The car that we, so I traded my 410 for another car, and
Mhm.
it came with factory canes, actually double adjustable, so I'm excited for those, like, try those out. But I have no idea what they are. You know, you have no pull test, oh, they feel like this, and let's send it. And that's about the extent of it. I do have dyno sheets, for the shocks that are on the car that I do try to reference. But again, I haven't had my shocks on a dyno in probably 4 years.
Yeah. I'm a big person. Like I became, especially the last 2 years that me and Jimmy worked together, I became like massive on shocks. Like we will make a shock adjustment before we move a 1/4 inch of a wheel, before we kill air pressure, like shocks first, leave the car doing what it's supposed to do. I think that I know that you can contest to this. You probably have done this in your career, like where you just have it in your head that you have to flip the whole car upside down before the feature. Like you go over there, you
Yeah.
start throwing in reverse split and all this crazy stuff, and like it could have
You
been so much simpler.
you would be surprised. I'd be willing to bet if you like I honestly don't know how often we've ever pitted next to each other, but I'd be willing to bet if you ever like when the track goes from super heavy to super slick, I don't I don't do much. I
Yeah,
really honestly don't. I mean, I'll take the front shocks off the car and scoot the right rear attach and then trunk the wing. Like that's about the extent of it. Like I don't go super crazy. Like I don't run reverse split. I run quite the opposite. And like I said, I don't like a car that feels buried over on the right rear. Even
hmm
if it's hooked up and I'm setting track records, I'm not gonna. In my seat, I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna turn it over, so I'm gonna be timid on it. Whereas if I'm cars on the wing, I'm leaning left, like that's where I'm comfortable, and I want to keep the car that way.
and comfort's
Um,
always better than
yeah,
uncomfortable and fast. Like then you're just scared and your ass cheeks are clenched the whole feature, and you're gonna be
yeah,
tired anyways.
yeah. Like if
Gripping the steering wheel from the bottom.
yeah, that's just one of those things. I don't do a ton. I really don't. Like I mean, I'll move some stagger around. I'll move some, some space, tire spacing. But like, I don't hardly ever change bar. I honestly don't remember the last time I changed bars.
Yeah,
For as far as a setup adjustment. Um, Shocks, like I said, my rear shocks, I don't touch them. They
yeah.
are from when I unload it for hot laps to when I load it back in after feature. My rear shocks are going to be all what they are. I don't touch them. And my front shocks, I'll pull some rebound out of those depending on what I think the track's doing. But I don't do much. I really honestly don't.
Yeah. I think that was what especially me and Jimmy learned. Like it was something that worked from TMS to Ardmore, Abilene, Grayson, like all these racetracks. If I can unload the car at this way, I knew
Mhm,
that there was very small adjustments that I had to make
mhm.
throughout the night. Like you're saying, just kill a little bit of stagger, maybe do a little air pressure, and just mess with the shocks a little bit. The
Yeah.
car still felt the same at the end of the night as it did when we pushed out for hot laps.
Mhm. I think obviously the more guesswork you can eliminate, the better off you're going to be. So if you have a package that you like, I'm going to take that setup and I'm going to take it everywhere.
Yeah.
And regardless of what I think I know, like, well, oh, this track's known to do this, that's cool. I'll do it after hot laps. But I'm
Right.
going to unload with this setup because I know what it should feel like, and I can make better educated guesses
Yep.
after I run. The only track I can say that and they kicked our asses for years would be Devil's Bowl, and we had to put some weird crap on the car to get
Mhm.
me comfortable there. And I guarantee, like when I talk to like my buddy Austin Lundy, like I tell him like, here's what I'm doing, and he's like, how are you driving this car? And I don't know. I have the same question about you. Like I don't understand it, but it's a feel. There's a certain feel that everybody wants, and you just got to figure out what it is. And Devil's Bowl for the longest time, I hated that place. Now I hate that it's gone. It turned it one of my favorite places because it was one of those it could get really technical kind of tracks.
Right.
It could get strung out and wide open, obviously. But I mean, when it got slick and technical, it could be a lot of fun.
Same, man.
And
Austin and Ramey were both wicked fast there, and they did some goofy stuff there too.
yeah, and like I said, I'll probably like my car was so jacked up there to get it to where I was comfortable that you'd probably be like, how you not spinning this thing under caution? Like it was so weird, but it worked. I liked it.
Ramey
And it was a,
Ramey let the cat out of the bag on his episode with us that he's got this super secret car that he's building that he claims nobody's ever seen before. So
He's always got something.
yeah.
you know, I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got the ability to do it, go for it. I mean, I am just happy to get this whole heap to get around the racetrack. I don't need to, try to reinvent anything. Like if I can go wide open with this car, then that's good enough. Like for the guys like Marcus, I know they run
Right.
some odd stuff, with wing angles and, I'm sure they got other stuff on there. I mean, those guys are super smart with what they do. Same thing with Kevin. I mean, he's got, he's not a stupid man by any means. So
For sure.
if you have the ability to try that kind of stuff, man, what do you got to lose? I mean,
I think I'm a
But-
firm believer that you can psych yourself out. You
yeah.
Well, you
it's
can
such
also-
a mental game.
And in
But
the
al-
same sentence, you can psych yourself in, like John's saying that
Sure.
if anyone else ran what he ran at Devil's Bowl, it can be. It's still it's mental. There's only so much you can do to this car, and I think the same, like you're saying, and I'm sorry for everyone that I offend whenever I say this. Colby Stubblefield going plus 14 and Jeb, like you will still see good guys rise to the top, especially when the track becomes technical. The
Yeah.
same, like we're gonna go back to the Waco story one more time. How deep did you start that night?
Ninth, I think.
Yeah, and then you needed the caution, but you put yourself in the position for the caution. It's still, like I think that, like John's saying, and I'm saying, Jimmy's saying, like everyone's gonna say, like this is what I like, this is the basic standard, and I will do everything in my power to give myself that opportunity. It just sometimes takes a little bit of luck.
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to sit there and watch somebody like, use Marcus for an example. It's how many years did he go out there and just wear everybody out? Kevin go out
Absolutely.
there and just wear everybody out. And you think, man, that car's got to, it's got to work really well. There's every chance in the world that we crawl on that car, push out of victory lane, crawl on and make laps and just sail it off for everyone because you can't turn the damn thing.
For sure.
It's just because something works for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
We,
sure.
And that's why I'm not. So if you're like, I mean, I don't have anything to hide. Like, I mean, what works for me may not work for y'all, but it may give you a different way to think about things.
Yeah, I've always stood on that. If you want to tape measure and come measure my cars, you can use my tape measure for all I care.
I said,
I'll tell you
He'll have
exactly
to
what I
borrow
got.
it from me because he forgot one. But
Yeah, I was about to say you can use Jim's tape measure because Corby doesn't possess one.
we, Corby's brother Lucas took some time off and then came out and ran the final race 2 years ago at Kennedale. And we went and tested, they had an open practice or whatever that Thursday. And Corby and I had gone to work and tried a bunch of different stuff and came up with a package that was a lot different than what Lucas had been running back, the year or two prior. And he went out and hated it and begged us to change it. We would not. And we were like, no, this is what you're going to run. And that last race was, straight up on points. So he started shotgun on the field, 18th or 19th or whatever, and drove to, what was it, 5th or 6th?
I think he got fifth that night.
Something like plowing through the field and came in, dog cussing us how bad their race car is. He's like, I don't know how you guys drive it. You should have given it the way I wanted it. I was like, hey bro.
You're the
I'm
only
looking
guy
at
who
these
make
times.
passes.
Yeah. No, that
And
was
he-
so we were on a Mountain Creek one night. We had completely whacked out a car at KSP the weekend before, put together a triple X, and I run it. And I mean, I'm talking cars buried on the right rear. I'm doing everything I can to hold on to it. And we ended up winning that night. And I come in the same thing. I told my guys, like, we got to do something different. Like, this thing is just, I can't drive it. He's like, what do you mean? We just went out there and won. I'm like, yeah, but I feel like I'm going to turn it over. And like a little gust of wind is going to send me over the fence.
Lucas.
And it's just one of those, you got to be, if you're not comfortable in the car, it's so much harder to drive.
Yeah,
For sure.
we had to drag Lucas like he's a dog on a leash to be like, no, this is what we're gonna do. This works, and he came
He's
in
so
and he goes,
basic
I don't
standard,
care,
it's
I don't
funny.
want it. Yeah, he's like, I don't want it. Don't do that again. Well,
Same.
okay.
I mean, you've raced with Logan long enough. I mean, Logan is probably the only guy in the absolute slick top to bottom. He's pushing the front. He's so tight. Logan will figure out somehow to make his
Yeah.
car tighter than
Well-
anyone else out there.
Well, no, it's just a little too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I went
and
to
I think a lot of it is, especially with the newer drivers or less experienced, they are probably a little too afraid to go too tight with the car.
Right.
Because they're in their head like, I'm gonna go in there and just plow it up into the fence or turn it over. And I think that's why you see a lot of some of the stuff that happened last, at KSP, that, a lot of we had several guys spin, that,
Yep.
they caused that crash on the back straightaway. It's just, you know, it you have to find, obviously you don't want to fucking crash, but you're never gonna get better unless you start throwing some stuff at the car that, may be out of your
Right.
comfort zone a little bit, but you gotta try it.
Yeah. I agree. I think that there is a big fault in, it's not a big fault, but I think that there is like a disconnect still, like new drivers coming in with some of the older drivers and just like asking some of just the stupid questions. If I'm being honest with you, John, like just the
Yeah.
stupid questions of even, people asking like, how much brake do you use? Well, more often than not, I mean, unless it's wide open at KSP in a heat race, I'm probably stabbing at the pedal. That's just me.
Yeah.
That's how I drive. There's other people that are really good. Like I know that Marcus is really good about never touching the brake. And that it just falls into, how you have your stuff set up. Kevin Ramey is a big person on just rolling out of the gas, never being all the way off the pedal. It's just, and I want more people, especially like the new guys in sprint cars, to come up to people who have had experience and just talk to them.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with, yeah. So we ran the last year that we ran Nebraska. I ran the B main, and I was in a transfer spot, and with like 3 to go, I go into turn 1, hit the brakes, car popped, pedal into the floor, I blew the brake rotor off the car, or the caliper off the car.
Yep.
Well, I held on, finished the race. We ended up transferring, but when I looked at my race pass, those last 3 laps were the 3 fastest laps that I turned,
Right.
and I had no brakes on the car. So there's something to be said about, don't go in there and just use all kinds of brakes so hard. I mean, let momentum do its thing.
Yeah.
Did it
If your car's
feel
good and
did it feel fast, or did you feel like you were just hanging on?
truth be told, I felt like I was hanging on because I knew I had a problem. So I was just trying to make sure and this is probably why my laps were fast, was I was trying to be more precise with
Right.
how I rolled into the corner, how I navigated the surface at that time. And I think, it made me change my line a little bit. It made me, obviously I'm not dragging brakes, so I'm not scrubbing the car down. I think I was arcing my line a little bit more, so I was able to keep a better, cleaner line. So it did make me faster, but I think also in the back of my mind, it was kind of if something happens, I'm just gonna plow into somebody, or whatever, something happens. So
Or just
I think,
spin it out and get T-boned?
yeah, like there's, because I got my brakes
He's
stuff
not
I had
paying
to do.
attention.
No, Jimmy's not paying attention.
Jim's
He's
not
done
paying
with us.
attention.
I agreed, that in every driver,
I
and even
was
sometimes there's moments where you need moments like that to just prove to yourself that we can't always rely on the brakes. Yes, they're super helpful whenever we get a little bit tight
Yeah,
in the center of 3 and 4, but we shouldn't always rely on that because
yeah.
it's more of like I will say this in a sprint car, like brakes are a helper, brakes are not a solver.
No, I would say my most consistent thing I do is I don't go in unless I'm in like a oh shit situation. I might go in and just put some pressure on it.
Right.
And I feel like for me that helps keep the car settled a little bit. Now if I go in and just jam it, then yeah, it's gonna cause problems. But I feel like if I go in and just put a little bit of pressure on the brake pedal, it's it helps me maybe, and it might just be a mind thing too. I mean, it may do absolutely nothing to the car, but I feel like it might help me with keep the car loaded, I guess.
Right.
But
I've always
yeah,
been a big like they even in the motorcycle race and stuff. It was never have like downtime, never be off the gas and off the brakes all at the same time. Like at least be giving
yeah,
some form of an input. And that's a hard thing to tell new guys whenever you say, well, one,
yeah,
you can run it wide open if you want to. That's not a
yeah,
problem. Two, that the
yeah,
wide open might not be the fastest way around here. So if you just give it a little bit of input, a little bit of brakes just to finesse the
yeah,
car back down the racetrack.
yeah. I mean, and back when when I ran ASCS and I was even in the California days when I was learning, honestly, I leaned on Claude Estes and
Hmm.
Daniel Estes back when he still ran a lot back then. Man, I leaned on them for a lot of help. When I ran ASCS, Matt Covington and some of those guys, those were guys I would talk to, like, hey man, what am I doing wrong? Y'all are making me look stupid. And, whenever we stopped running ASCS and I went to run 305, that KSP, you take that education and you apply it there, and like it makes you a better driver. But you don't learn unless you ask. And
Yep,
sometimes maybe people's egos get in their way and they're too proud to ask.
There's a
I
lot of
agree.
that.
I
You
agree.
know,
I think the only dumb question is a question not asked.
yeah. I mean, you may not get the answer you're looking for, or you may think to yourself, "Oh, that's stupid. I'm not going to try that." But you take what they tell you and just like, okay, how can I apply this to what I'm doing? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? And at the end of the day, the worst thing you can do is it doesn't work for you.
For
But at
sure.
least that's you're either going to find another way that something doesn't work, or you're going to find something, hey, that really did work, and I can start applying that to different scenarios.
Yeah, I agree. I think that hopefully people watch this show and listen to this part of us talking and like, dude, like we're just normal people. Like I'm not gonna look at you like you're dumb for walking up to me and ask any question. Like,
Yeah.
just ask. I'm probably gonna look at you dumb because you didn't
Because
ask
he's
and you went out
because
there and did
he's
something
dumb.
stupid.
If you go out there and cause a big crash because you're too proud to ask for help,
For
then we're
sure.
probably gonna be like, man, dude, like
Just talk
I
to
will
us.
literally show you my setup sheet. Like,
Yeah,
let's figure
right.
this out. You know.
All
I
right.
agree.
But yeah,
Speaking of asking for help, do you look for signs from your dad under caution?
yeah. God bless him though. Saturday night, I didn't know at the time I wasn't. Do I run the top? Do I run the bottom? And I'm sitting there, my dad's driving up, and I'm over here like trying not to be like, Marcus is parked right, stop right now. No, I'm trying to say, hey, do I run the top or do I run the bottom? Like, let's let everybody know my plans.
So
So I'm like
you're
trying
the
to be like,
reason that Kyle
I'm
passed
like
Marcus?
this, possibly, but I'm trying to like be like subtle, man. I'm trying to do like this or like this. Like, what do I do? My dad's just driving, just doing this, like not paying a lick of attention to what I'm trying to ask him. And I'll like try to find him on the back straightaway to give me signs, and he's 9 times out of 10 he's like talking to somebody, or I'm like solid. I just keep doing what I'm doing, I guess.
Corby, were we talking to Ryder LaPlante when
Yeah,
he
it
was
was
talking about
Ryder.
Darren coming up behind him
Darren
and
just
just
Oh,
yelling
screamed,
yeah.
"We're
like,
on the top."
"Hey, here's the secret to winning this thing,"
No,
and
man.
everybody else can overhear him.
No, I'm
Yeah,
a big person. I was always wanted just signs like tell me something, like even if it's just a
yeah,
thumbs up, like just give me something to make,
yeah,
especially you led the whole race, and the whole time, like you said, like you know in your head at some point one of them is going to try.
yeah. And I didn't feel as good as I mean, obviously the car was good, but I didn't feel like I just knew that it was coming. Like,
Right.
should I abandon the top of 1 and 2 and go to the bottom? Should I abandon the bottom of 3 and 4 and go to the top? I have no idea what I'm doing. And all I do know is that I'm getting looser and looser.
Right.
What do I do? And I'm just like, and that's the unfortunate thing about leaving, because if you run a second, third, fourth, I mean, he's got nothing to lose other than just let's search, try to find lines.
Mm-hmm.
We never really caught lap traffic that night. I mean, I think we caught past maybe 2 cars, maybe
Right.
At that. So it was hard you couldn't really judge because of the lap cars and the lines that they were running. And I was like, every time I'd run, I was like, I never felt like I never knew Marcus was there until he passed me.
Right.
I never felt pressure, and I never knew Kyle was there until he passed me. So I never felt pressure. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and it is what it is. I'll figure out the rest when the rest gets here. If I have to, change up my lines, and then we'll do that later. But
And two, like I'll go ahead and say this, like that's the coolest thing about a lot of the fast guys around here is like everyone races with such respect. I know that Marcus and Kyle both had a couple of shots to just be dumb about it, and there's plenty of guys around here that would have taken that shot, and they have true respect not just for you but just for racing in general, because like you said, like what's it worth to change the difference in $100? That everyone raced super clean the same. Marcus got by you, Kyle showed you a nose. Marcus and Kyle raced really, really hard for a couple of laps. And I think that I'm happy to watch races like that, to see that there is respect still in racing.
yeah, I mean, no one wants to. I mean, even if we had big fundings and we race for big purses, who wants to go out there and just body slam people? Like,
Be that
that's just
guy.
not fun. Yeah,
sure.
like let's go. I mean, let's go out there and race hard, and we'll race inches off of each other. If I gotta, if when Kyle slid me, I
Yeah.
had to toe the brake and turn the car down.
Yeah,
perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
absolutely.
But it it adds the excitement for the fans. He
Yep,
gave me plenty of room
yep,
to be able to not just see him coming, but to be able to make an adjustment.
for sure.
Marcus did the same thing.
Yep,
I was able to circle him back around the top, but I mean, I seen him coming, and I had enough time to say, okay, do I circle him or do I turn on, try to do a crossover and
right,
go from there? And it's really cool that we can be able to race that way. I mean, it puts on better shows. It's funner for the guys racing. I don't have to worry about, getting sent over the fence. The racing's better for the fans. We can
yeah,
go back and forth with it. And I can bomb him back in turns 3 and we can just back and forth that just like me and you did at Waco,
yep.
and it's just when there's a draw, it's still fun. I mean, yeah,
It's the
you want to
same,
win a
man. Like
race, but
I want to shake your hand after the race is over. I don't ever want to
yeah,
have to walk up to you and apologize over something
yeah,
that I should have done.
yeah.
And I think
And
that there is a big respect for that around here.
there's people that I feel like when they go to the race, when they unload the trailer, you're like, okay, man, you gotta watch out for that guy.
Yeah,
And I don't want to be known for that kind of driver. I want to be known for a driver that I will leave you if I don't think I got you clean on or clear on the slaughter. I'm gonna leave you that lane.
for sure.
I'll build another run and we'll try to get another lap.
Yep,
I don't want to be in there. Oh well, let's just send it and see what happens. Like I'm not. I don't want to be that guy.
right.
You know. I mean, obviously, as hard as we race, I mean, mistakes are going to happen, and
Yeah,
I'll own every mistake I make. If I clean you out, I will apologize. But I don't want to be known as a driver that's careless or that just doesn't care about my equipment or yours.
I
You know,
agree.
I mean, this stuff is ridiculously expensive, and it's hard enough to keep it going locally, much less anything else. So last thing I want to do is just tear crap up.
For sure. No,
I
I
gotta
just think it's a good thing around here right now. I think that there is a major respect going all the way around the pit area, and it's the same. Like I said, a lot of us are friends, and a lot of us talk outside the track. The same as like you're
Mm,
saying, even setup stuff. That's huge. I
yeah,
think that Texas has a great thing going with that.
yeah, I agree 1,000%.
What's the future look like for you the rest of the season?
I mean, this year's, I mean, more or the same as what we did last year. Obviously we wanted to go to that Oklahoma show, that 20,000 domain, was an OCRS. We wanted, I was really excited to try to run that deal. I felt like we have a really good car. We have a really good program, really good package. I think we could have gone there and made some noise. But I mean, the KSP RPM is my two main focuses. Kevin taking over RPM. He knows how to move dirt around. He's a very smart guy. When it comes to that kind of stuff. So I expect great things out of that place. Um, we all know KSP. It's one of those places. It's fun. Especially when they let it slick up a little bit and make it more technical. I would like to run the speed week stuff, but it's just so expensive right now, and uh, we'll just have to play it on by ear for sure. RPM and probably Texarkana. The rest of it we'll just have to see how the money plays out.
Texarkana's a
Um,
cool place.
I know I wanted to go there so bad last year, but just couldn't make it happen. That place looks like a play. I mean, just again, that's and I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. My style, like it's technical up around top.
Yep.
You saw it there with was it I think or not ACS, the short track nationals, the elite cars were there. I think it
Yep.
was. I mean, just looks like a ton. Tim and the whole crew have done what looks like an amazing job at that
I
place,
agree.
and it looks like it puts on really good racing. Um, I have Eagle scheduled off this year. I know I have it off every year, and for one reason or another, I end up not being able to go. But I do have it off, and I really, really am trying to, make that one happen this year. I think my kids are old enough. They'll come up with me. Last year, I had my second daughter. I had her. She was born the week before nationals, so birthdays and having a baby right there is just I had her the week before Nebraska. Then my oldest Addie, she's born during the week of Chili Bowl, so I didn't really plan those.
Perfect planning.
Yeah, so I'm really hopeful that she'll want to have her birthday at Chili Bowl one year. So
Right.
That's when mine
yeah.
is, Wednesday of Chili Bowl week.
Oh really? Yeah,
Yeah.
she was born. Christopher Bell won the prelim night, which I think it was on Wednesday as well. Tuesday
Some
or
of the
Wednesday.
best birthday parties I ever had was out of the Sherb trailer at Chili Bowl. So
Yeah, good times.
if
And at
people
the
have to tell me
casino
about how much
afterwards.
fun I had. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Waffle House
but
runs on
yeah,
a Wednesday.
it's good times, man. You gotta enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna push real hard to try to get back up to Nebraska this year. That place, I mean, y'all been there.
It's a
It's a
whole
ton of
experience.
fun. Yeah, it's the racing there is a lot of fun.
They
The
do
pit parties
amazing job with the
afterwards.
racetrack and track prep.
I remember the first year that we went up there, it rained every single day. And I remember Roger Hayden, the owner there, he told us, "Hey, she's gonna be rough tonight. He's like, y'all better loosen y'all shit up." And he was not wrong, but man, I'll tell you what, if a car wasn't on the racetrack, he was on that racetrack,
Right.
rolling it in, tailing it up, trying to just do everything in his power to make sure that rate that not only did we get the race in, but we had some kind of racetrack to race on.
Yeah,
And every night and every year, even when it's perfect weather conditions, you couldn't ask for better. He's still on that racetrack, ripping it up, making
I
sure there's
agree.
a top, making sure there's a bottom. You know, I don't know what he does, for the entire rest of the year, but I know during the 305 Nationals, that man works his butt off
I
to make
agree.
sure that we have a phenomenal racetrack.
Yep.
And
That's such a great event.
mm,
Anybody that's listening that doesn't plan on going up there to drive, that's an event that
mhm.
we all have friends that we race with. That's an event that everybody's always looking for an extra hand. If you have the ability to go
Oh
up
yeah,
there, I
I don't
would
think you can have
suggest that.
enough hands that week. It
yeah.
say
That
like let's be honest, like practice is absolutely insane there.
and
Just to
now you
have
got
enough people like
practice.
hand push your car out.
Just the
And now
waterfall
practice
to get
is
on the track.
you have the race of champion heat races
Yeah,
on the same press. So it's not just go out there rip a few laps, call it a night. No, you if you want, I mean, if you're eligible, you run the race of champions heat race. So you've got to from the time you unload to the time you leave, you are doing something you're doing some kind of production that night, whether unless you're just not running the race of champion stuff.
yep,
But it's and that's a track you've got to was it 115 plus cars that I think show up every year
yep.
in the format that they have. I mean, you have got to be on kill the entire
I agree
night, every single. Because I mean, the difference between you can start 10th in a heat race, run her all the way up to fourth, third or fourth, and you're still buried. I mean, yeah, you get passing points, but you're for that night, you're still buried.
for
So it's like
sure.
you've gotta attack, and you gotta hope you get a good pill draw. Hope you get the track conditions that you like, and
And same. I
there's
mean,
so many things.
like you're saying, unloading fast and being comfortable with what you have. That
Yeah,
is the most important place to go to like
yeah.
that.
And admittedly, I struggled there. I mean, the first year we ran there, we ran fourth, but ever since then, I've had glimpses of speed there, and I've made the mains a few times, but I have struggled with performance there. It's engine issues, wadding cars up, But I said it. I told my wife that I was like, when we go to Nebraska, it's 12 hours up there from our doorstep to theirs. I'm not driving 12 hours to be timid. We're
Right.
we're sending it. If it comes back in the trash can, it comes back in the trash can.
It's cool, man. There's a lot of
And
freaking fast guys who show up for that race.
yeah,
It like you're saying, man. Like you have to unload fast. Then you got to know what you have.
yeah. So it's an event. You run. They open up the pit party afterwards. So I mean, you can sit there maintenance your car because it does get kind of hot there still. So you maintenance your car out there in the middle of the night. Midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. The melon bar's open. You're doing whatever you want to do, and it's a whole thing. Like everybody's, it's kind of like I'd say somewhere going up to like Knoxville or something. Like
Right.
you have to just go to experience it,
Right.
whether you have a car there or not.
I agree.
Jim, you've never been up there, have you?
Nope, still haven't.
Of
That's
everywhere
cool.
that you've been,
It's a
all
cool
of the
place.
cool events, Indy 500s, NHRA starting lines, all the sprint car
Yeah.
stuff,
Well,
shootout, chili bowl.
I always, since I moved down here, I always went to Indianapolis for the 500 week and the little 500 and everything. That was kind of my big racing trip of the year was on Memorial Day weekend. So, Labor Day weekend was family stuff, lake, all that sort of stuff. So I just um, pick and choose. But now that we have Speed Week down here, I didn't go up to Indy last year, and so the option is open. As long as my wife lets me go. So.
Let's say, I mean, John, like you have a wife, you have two girls. I know that they're super big supporters. The same. I don't know if anyone has ever been like within like a mile radius of your wife when she's watching you race. That
Yeah,
everyone knows who she's there for.
yeah. She's not shy. And she is the first one to tell me, I don't know if y'all watched her Facebook Live when Kyle slid me on the last lap. There was some words said that luckily I didn't hear. So, um, yeah, she is vocal,
Yeah,
put it nicely. But she obviously means well. So, but yeah,
biggest
no,
John
she's
Ricketts fan I ever met in my life.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
She's it was funny is when we first met, I don't even think she'd ever seen a race in her life, much like NASCAR or even like horse racing or anything like that. So I decided to take her down to one of those. We took her down to Cotton Bowl for a nominating show. Like I was like, I'm gonna break her in the right way, and then I'm like hot dogging and hot laps, so I'm just trying to show off a little bit, and I ended up crashing, but whatever. Yeah, but
That's cool though, man. And
she's a big supporter.
Yeah, like I said, your dad's always been a massive to you and your racing, the same as family and support. That's the biggest thing, is just having family or people that you meet at the racetrack that become family.
Yeah,
It's huge.
some of my best friends I've ever had are from the racetrack.
Yep.
You know, my life would look completely different if I didn't have a race car. I mean, it would be, my entire circle would be, I don't know, I
Right.
probably wouldn't even know my wife. It'd be one of those, completely different. But yeah, some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life were in the racing world. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, I mean, you're even super close to Austin. Austin's not a forgotten local guy. Austin's wicked fast, always been wicked fast. And it takes friends like that to help you. I was insanely lucky and blessed that I had brothers that I could argue with about setup. There's
They
a
were
lot of
so
people
much faster than you.
way faster than me. But it takes stuff like that. The same, even Chad Wilson. Chad Wilson's always been a big part of my racing. And
Yeah.
that's the coolest thing about racing, especially at 305, especially around here. Same, I mean, you have a job, same like the rest of us do, and we go to have fun, but of course, my intention is to win.
Yeah, I this year I've been, I feel like I'm more motivated to run well this year than I have been, and I want to win no matter what, right? But this year I feel like I've been more motivated. I've lost a lot of weight. We've made the car better. We've done a lot. I feel like we've checked off a lot of boxes on our program that all I got to do is get in the car and execute. So there's
Right.
really not a lot of excuses not to perform and not put points on the board. Um, so I want to do well, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you got your friends, you got your family. And that's what counts.
Yep.
We need to kind of start wrapping this up. Just one last question. Uh, do
I'm
you
excited now.
do you be- do you believe that we landed on the moon?
I mean, I don't know, man. I tell you what,
Don't listen to the Jeb episode.
I don't know. It's hard to believe that we can send a rocket to the moon and yet I can't hardly get good Wi-Fi connection. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those guys are obviously smarter than I am, but like we get janky pictures of people on like security cameras trying to figure out who killed who, but we're getting like crystal clear 4K freaking moon pictures
For sure.
From
from trillion miles away.
1969.
Yeah, like come on now. Like, I don't know. I think it would be cool if we actually did. I mean, that would be cool
I
as hell, but
agree.
I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to buy into that, I think.
It's just super far-fetched for me, man.
Yeah.
Jim,
Yeah.
Jim, do
I
you think
want
we
to I
landed on
want
the
to
moon?
believe it, but I don't know.
Jim, do you think we landed on the moon?
Emphatically believe yes, we did. I think the crew of the Apollo missions are some of the biggest badasses that walk the planet.
You're not going to tell everyone who you are and where you live? that
Jim
you-
Gardner, Denison, Texas. This is April the 7th, 2026.
And you saying this under your own free will?
We definitely landed on the moon.
There's no way.
and
You don't
I'm
believe
saying
that,
it
and you
of
know
my
you
own
don't.
free
That's why
will.
you're standing there with your arms crossed.
Yeah.
Corby, do
we're
you
on
think-
video now because I didn't want people to think I was being held against my will.
That's the
when I said
only
that.
reason that we're on video, because Jim did not want to be a part of any conspiracy theories. Corby, I know you don't believe that we landed on the moon.
Absolutely not.
But
I
you-
don't
we-
even.
there-
I don't even believe that the what's it called stuff that's
Artemis?
going on right now. Yeah, the Artemis. No, it's
It's all just AI.
yeah, man. It's wild. I think that there's like I said with the Jeb conversation, there's a lot of stuff that has happened that is super questionable. But I do know this: John Ricketts won last weekend, and he's got another cool shot this next weekend. And see who Kennedale pulls out, because it's not everything with starting position, but a lot of the
there's
stuff.
obviously going to be a lot of fast cars there. There's going to be a lot of.
Everyone's hunting you now.
Yeah, and I promise this: whenever I'm going to unload the way I unload, I'm going to go as hard as I can, and we'll see if we get another good slicked up track.
Right.
I'm gonna make some noise. Like
Yep.
I very insist on doing that. So if I don't win, I want to at least be a pain in the butt.
I hear you that.
Well, John, we appreciate you not only being on the show, but you've been one of the biggest cheerleaders of this absolutely stupid idea that we've come up with that Jim forced us into. So cool. We appreciate it, man.
We need some juice, man. The sport's too cool to not have anybody talk about it. We need some juice.
Yeah, and I feel like we have some of the best racers in this area that no one knows about.
Yeah, I agree.
People hear Kyle's name. I mean, he's obviously done really well for himself running international stuff, but there's more people just like him that are down here that are just as good, if not better than he can be. We're just in the wrong part of the country. We're not in Posse land. We're not in the West Coast. We're not at Knoxville. We're not, we're just in the wrong part of the country to really make a noise and people really take us seriously.
That was a lot of the reason that we wanted to do the podcast. We wanted to give the general race fan the ability to see what makes these race car drivers tick, that they see week in and week out, or, they'll come to Abilene and they just want to know more. This gives them a reason to cheer for John Ricketts, whether they like you or something that you said that they were like, all right, that's my guy.
Yeah. I mean, if they're making noise for me, I guess I'm doing my job.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the same, like the majority of races around here, it's not just, one person that can win almost any weekend, that there's 7 to 8 guys that can win.
Oh, yeah.
Typically there's closer to 10 to 15 that truly can show up and win. And I agree with you that
with the IMCA format that we have, if you can get through a heat race, even if you're not, one to watch necessarily, if you got a good car and the tracks, to your side, I mean, anybody can go out there and win one.
I agree.
I feel like as long as you've got a decent piece, absolutely. Now, when the track starts slicking up and you've got to start using both pedals, and that's when the experience, starts really coming in, and there's easily, I think, 10 guys out on any given night that could go out there and just win.
I agree.
I agree. Well, good luck next weekend, or this coming weekend, at Kennedale. And
we'll be there,
I know at least one of us will probably be out there. You can shoot. Well, Jim already said he wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
My stuff's not going to be ready for a while. So
no, we'll be there, and hopefully the weather cooperates with us a little bit. We get some racing in, but yeah, well, I mean, cars ready to rock. Just gotta get in and execute and hope for the best.
It's simple, right? Just do your job.
All you gotta do is just smash on the gas and run up.
That's it.
Good deal. Well,
thank you, John.
I know
we appreciate it.
The people at Stomp and Steer are not going to be happy, but if you want to get your pushing the cushion swag, stompandsteer.com. They've always supported Corby for whatever reason.
I don't know.
Stompandsteer.com for all your swag. Thanks for joining in.
Thanks, John. I
appreciate y'all having me. Yeah, I had a good time. I appreciate y'all having me, and hope to let's do it again sometime.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Sounds good. Thanks,
we'll see y'all again.
Thank you for listening to the Pushing the Cushion podcast. I'm sorry that it was a complete waste of your time. Maybe Corby and Slim will actually learn how to make an interesting podcast before the next one. Who am I kidding? I don't get paid enough for this. We'll see you next time.